Hit that sub button, guys, for raw boxing opinions and the latest in boxing. People are seeing that if they want the respect, they have to fight stiff competition. So that is what Anthony Joshua had to say, the unified heavyweight champion of the world. And of course he was talking about, when he says they, he was talking about Tyson Fury, and of course none other than Deontay Wilder. Now when he says people are seeing that they haven't had, the best competition, I would imagine he's mostly talking about Deontay Wilder, because when he says people, I believe he's talking about the boxing fans, because for many years boxing fans have been giving Deontay Wilder a hard time. Like, they've been giving him a lot of slack, a lot of criticism, a lot of basically just criticism after criticism after criticism because of his resume. Way before he became a champion, people were wanting him to step his game up. People were saying, stop fighting this guy, stop fighting this retired guy, stop fighting this guy with 10 losses, stop fighting this guy that I never heard of, stop fighting this journeyman. I remember back in 2013, Frank Warren announced that Derek Chisora was going to fight Deontay Wilder. And I remember people getting so excited for that. They got so excited for that because up to that point in Deontay Wilder's career, he was fighting basically no names, right? No names, journeymans, shit level guys. Of course, the fight didn't happen. I remember Deontay Wilder going around saying that they never contacted him, and I remember like they had a press conference and everything. Wilder wasn't in the press conference, and the fight just never happened. And once again, people went back to criticizing Wilder because they felt like he dug to Derek Chisora and stuff. I don't know if that's true or not, but the point is, people have been wanting to when it comes, like I said, to Wilder, boxing fans have been criticizing Wilder for many years. It's not a thing where it just started when he became the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. No, this has been going on for several years, since as long as I can remember. I first started watching Wilder very early in his career, maybe 2010, 11. He had very little fights back then. I don't know, maybe like 15 fights, but they were talking bad about his resume back then, and he really started getting a lot of notice from and just people from around the world, because in the beginning it was just American boxing fans were talking about him, especially like online. But then like around 2012, 2013, that was like the years where international boxing fans from around the world were talking about Wilder, a lot of them. And that's when it really started. Like, they really started to notice that Wilder was fighting shit level guys, so they were just complaining about it. And so this is something that has been going on for Wilder's for several years now. Going on, over 5 years. More than that, 6-7 years. Really more than that, because his whole career he's been fighting very bad opponents. So I understand where Joshua was saying that the boxing fans, they want to see him fight better opposition, and I guess he's saying that when they fight each other, that's going to be the better opposition for both of them, right? Because for Wilder, that's going to be the best guy he fought. Tyson Fury would be the best name in Wilder's resume. because of the fact that Tyson Fury was a former unified champion. He would be the best name in Wilder's resume. Win or lose, he would be the best guy he fought. When it comes to Fury, though, do I think Wilder is the best guy in his resume? No, I think Vladimir Klitschko is a better fighter than Deontay Wilder. And where Vladimir Klitschko was when he beat him was in a better position than Wilder is right now. Vladimir Klitschko was a unified champion. He was considered the #1 heavyweight at the time. So, you know, that to me is a lot more like, let's say Tyson Fury beats Deontay Wilder and becomes the WBC champion. I wouldn't look at that as a bigger win than when he beat Vladimir Klitschko, because when he beat Vladimir Klitschko was considered the #1 heavyweight. He was the #1 heavyweight. He was a long reigning heavyweight, and he dethroned him. So that was a really big deal. That was a really, you know, big win for Fury at the time. But if he beats Wilder, you know, Wilder's younger than Vladimir Klitschko, but Wilder doesn't have the resume Vladimir Klitschko had. You know, he can't compare his resume to Vladimir Klitschko's reign. He doesn't have the legacy that Vladimir Klitschko has, or the talent. Definitely not the talent. What he has is the punching power, really. But in terms of, like, I wouldn't rate a win over Wilder as bigger than a win over Vladimir Klitschko, basically. Just because, like I said, Wilder it's difficult to rate Wilder. I rate him because he's the champion, but it's very difficult for me to rate Wilder because of his resume. You know, his resume doesn't impress me at all. You know, it really doesn't. You guys know how I am with resumes. You know, Bermane Stiverne, Gerard Washington, and Luis Ortiz. Those 3 names are the best guys in his resume. Why? Because Gerard Washington was undefeated, Ortiz was undefeated, and Bermane Stiverne was considered the best guy he had ever fought in his life when he fought him. Facts. And all these guys, the best guy out of all these 3 is Luis Ortiz. You know, Gerard Washington is top 25 heavyweight. Bermane Stiverne, people were acting like he was a top 10 heavyweight. Bermane Stiverne is not a top 10 heavyweight. He's a top 35, 40 heavyweight. But back then in 2015 when Wilder fought him, they were acting like he was a top 10 heavyweight. Bermane Stiverne is not a top 10 heavyweight. He has a shit resume. You know, I didn't understand. I remember when Wilder first fought him in 2015. People were acting like he was a top 10 heavyweight, but Bermane Stiverne has a horrible resume, so I wasn't impressed by his resume. So I was like, how is he a top 10 heavyweight? His resume is trash. Why? Because he beat guys like Ray Austin. Ray Austin was a bum. Why? Because he beat Chris Arreola, a guy who was a top 35 heavyweight. That doesn't make you a top 10 heavyweight. So I still don't know to this day why they rate Bermane Stiverne as like a really good heavyweight or a really good win for Wilder. I think Luis Ortiz is a better talent than Bermane Stiverne. But like I said with Ortiz, again, it's all about resumes for me. And once again, I'm not impressed by Ortiz's resume. So hands down, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder facing Tyson Fury is the best guy he fought because of his resume. Because Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko. That's why. And that's a big standout win for Tyson Fury. So that makes Wilder look good. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. For years, I do agree with Anthony Joshua. You know, Anthony Joshua is saying it like it's just happening now, but this has been going on for a long time. You know, not just the people, you know, a lot of boxing channels make videos about Wilder talking about his resume and stuff, but trust me, the subscribers, just the boxing fans in general writing on social media, they've been talking about Wilder's resume for several years. Like, this is something that has been going on for years, complaining about his resume, you know, hoping that he will step his game up. So this is something that goes. That's why I've been saying Wilder should feel embarrassed that someone like Joshua surpassed him. Because before he turned pro, before Joshua turned pro, they were begging him to fight guys that Joshua ended up fighting first. They were begging him to do this, and Joshua ended up fighting better oppositions. Yeah, because Joshua fought Dillian Whyte in his like 15 pro fight. Dillian Whyte was better than anyone Wilder fought to that point. You might say, some people might say that Dillian Whyte is better than anyone Wilder has fought, because the best guy in Wilder's resume is Luis Ortiz, and there's probably several boxing fans out there that believe that Dillian Whyte's is actually better than Luis Ortiz. So, if you think about it, back when Joshua fight Dillian Whyte back in 2015, that was better than any guy Wilder ever fought. Because at that point, the best guy in his resume was Malik Scott and Bermane Stiverne. Two not elite heavyweights, two guys that are. I still don't know why people even rate Malik Scott high. Malik Scott has no heart. He's a quitter. He's born to quit. And when it comes to he's like I said, his role is a sparring partner role. Bermane Stiverne, most overrated heavyweight. People made to try and give Wilder credit. They made it seem like Bermane Stiverne was some sort of elite heavyweight. He's not no elite heavyweight. He's never fought. Elite heavyweights beat other elite heavyweights. They don't fight guys like Ray Austin and all of a sudden you're considered an elite heavyweight. You have to fight elite heavyweights and beat them. There's no elite heavyweight in Stiverne's entire career.